So first of all, what does a project manager virtual assistant do, or virtual assistant project manager? There's a lot of different types of names, but basically this is a virtual assistant who is doing a project management role in your business. Hey there, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Now, my goal set at this video is to walk you through the process of either hiring a project manager virtual assistant or training your virtual assistant to become a project manager. Now, if this is your first time on my channel, my name is Lacaba. I've been working from home since I was 15 years old and now have a virtual assistant company here in the Philippines, 2XU. And I post videos every Sunday and Thursday on how to work from home and how to have a business from home. So make sure to hit the subscribe button right there so you don't miss any of my videos. Now, there will come a time in your business, especially if you, of course, started as a solopreneur, you now have a virtual assistant, that you will have multiple projects that you will have going on. Sometimes it might even be that you are working with multiple people, with freelancers, and your assistant is helping you manage those projects. So in this video, I'll dive into what that process could look like if you have already an assistant you're going to train up, or if you are just hiring someone and you want to know how to spot what a good project manager VA would look like. So first of all, what does a project manager virtual assistant do, or virtual assistant project manager? There's a lot of different types of names, but basically this is a virtual assistant who is doing a project management role in your business. And to summarize it, there's usually 5 role or responsibilities that they will be doing. First one is to keep track of the goals. The difference between a project manager VA and someone who does the task is a project manager VA just looks at where they are going versus being the one to do the actual tasks. Now, a great visual that I usually do to illustrate this is to imagine that you are the boss, or you're someone who hired a forestry unit to be able to, do deforestation on a patch of land that's yours. So you are the visionary. You're looking at things far and you're making sure that, you're hiring the right people. You're hiring basically the project managers. And at the very end of this line of thinking is you have the people who have the axe, who are hacking their way throughout the forest, making sure that they're actually taking down the trees that are marked. And you have the project manager who goes out, who looks at what everyone else is doing and says, "Wrong forest." And this is something that I illustrate as a joke a lot of time, but it is actually what a project manager does, is they're the ones who make sure that everyone is on track on what they're supposed to be doing. Again, they're not the doers anymore of the project. They're the people who make sure that things are on track based on the goals. So essentially, they're making sure that people are on track in the different small things that they may be doing for the project. The second thing is they manage the team. So what this means is they're making sure that the team has what they need to keep on schedule, whether that's doing calls, giving them tools, giving them training, being able to make sure that they can show up for the work that they're supposed to be doing as they're cutting through the forest, making sure their axes are sharpened, making sure that they know what they're supposed to be doing, marking the trees. I'm giving the deforestation project as an example, but it is what they do, because then the next thing is managing the resources. Other than the team, what are the resources that the team would need to be able to succeed? Whether this is maintaining a project management tool, whether it's making sure everyone is up to date, including you as the boss, or it could be making sure that the numbers are right, which brings me to the next thing that a project manager does, which is creating documentation or reports, making sure that things are written down so it can be repeated again later on, making sure that any key performance indicators or KPIs are actually being tracked well and people understand what it means. People can make decisions and know that they're going through the wrong forest. And lastly, a project manager does quality checks, since they are kind of the upper point of view of the whole project. They're not the ones doing the task, they're not doing the project, they're just doing their own specialized thing inside of the project. Is the virtual assistant project manager can say, "Hey, this looks really good. Hey, this can be done better," because they have that bird's eye view of checking if it actually aligns with the goals that was set for the project. So how do you actually spot a project management virtual assistant? There's a few things that you can keep in mind. It's either someone you're trying to hire, or you might even have currently a virtual assistant that you're thinking of, training into becoming a project manager. The first thing is they really need to communicate well. This could be just being able to speak up if there's anything that needed, being able to update you on the things that they're doing. This could also be just the way that they're speaking to you when you're doing an interview or you are emailing with them back and forth. You want to listen to how they communicate and if it matches with your communication style. Because a lot of time, and I've seen it a lot inside of my company, 2XU, where an assistant really does communicate well. However, it's not the way that the client communicates. So this still causes miscommunication. So you want to make sure that they align with how you communicate. Let's say you're a person who likes to wrap things up with action steps. If they're not that kind of person, if they breeze through what needs to get done but never actually summarize it at the end, then it might not work out in the long run. So we want to make sure that your guys' communication both ways is actually something that can be easily understood by both parties. Next is they need to be flexible. This is a really important thing when it comes to being a project manager, is you need to be flexible and resourceful enough actually to know when to make a pivot, to learn that, hey, the results aren't matching what we're supposed to be getting, and being able to find a solution basically on how else to get back on track when you guys do lose sight of where you're going. Next is they need to be a tool expert. What I mean by this is they can be flexible when it comes to learning a new tool. They don't need to be, again, a full certified expert on a tool that you guys are using. It might be that you're even shifting tools as you guys are going, but they're easily adaptable or just tool adaptable when it comes to going through different, again, project management tools that might be using, the tools that the actual doers of the project might be doing. So they're able to be savvy enough to learn almost intuitively how to do certain things, or that they can actually deep dive themselves and learn the tool really easily by maybe clicking a bunch of things or watching YouTube videos like this. Next is they need to be able to be proactive with feedback and suggestions. And this goes back to communication. Are they the type of virtual assistant who have given you feedback before of like, hey, I think we can do this better next time? Or as you're doing the interviews with them as an applicant, you can ask them of, hey, can you give me an example of you being proactive or being able to give suggestions in your past work? And of course, they're going to be selective of the answers that they'll give you. You can also give them a quick test of like, hey, if we had this situation, what would you do? This will show you a little bit of their problem solving brain, plus show you how they would be comfortable when it comes to speaking up as a project shifts and goes through its ebbs and flows, because there will be ebbs and flows, and you need someone who can be brave enough to step up if they see that, hey, I don't think we're anymore aligned, hey, I can do this better, or hey, I think the team needs to be involved in this because things aren't just right. And of course, a virtual assistant who can manage their time. This is going to be super, super essential, because if they don't know how to manage their time, they're managing a group of like 4 to 6 people, how they're going to be spending their time based on their goals, based on what their expertise are within the whole project. So they need to be able to know how to manage their tasks, their outcome, how to manage their day, so then they can actually do the things that they need to do. This is one of the things that are kind of hard to catch, honestly, unless you've kind of worked with them a little bit. But if they're good with being able to either meet their deadlines or let you know of if they say, hey, I underestimated the time or overestimated the time that I needed for this, here's the thing, here's what I need. If they are able to communicate that way, that's a really good sign that they could be a really good project manager. Now, how do you actually train someone to become your project manager, or how do you manage someone who's a project manager VA? First thing is to make sure that you give them context and the goal. And this is super important, and this is something that people even skip. Is just because you've been working with an assistant for 6 months to a year doesn't mean that they have all the context that is your business. There might be some gaps just because, they're not always there in your business. You are. So when you are setting a project with your virtual assistant, is to make sure that you've also set the goal and the context why this is important in your business. It could be showing them like, hey, this number affects our sales, or this number affects our marketing, or this number affects our goal towards overall where the company is going. Giving them that context gives them the confidence that they're going to be either gonna say like, hey, I can handle this, of hey, I need more support on this. Next is to create your KPIs or key performance indicators. These are basically the numbers that they have to look out for to know if they are on track or not with the goal for the project. So a KPI could be, hey, we're doing this whole project of launching a social media business. So what we would need is to make sure that we have this percentage of engagement, this number of followers. It's an actual number that they can see and they can follow through to see again if the project is actually on track or it needs to pivot. Next is to create a weekly system, or what is usually called a sprint. So sprint is usually the work that needs to get done throughout the week to move the project forward in some way. Having a way where you are all on track on what needs to get done for that week is going to be so helpful for you guys to keep moving forward. Whether this week, hey, our goal is this, next week our goal is this, it keeps people on top of mind what's supposed to be happening as the week goes by. Next is, of course, give them the resources that they need. As they are the project manager for the people that they are managing, you are their project manager in that way as well. So making sure that they have the tools that they need, they have the authority that they also need, being able to just give them access to you so they can ask you questions is going to be important, especially at the beginning. Which brings me to the next thing that you need to set up is being able to have regular check-ins. Aside from doing check-ins with the team, which is an important thing to set up, especially for those weekly sprints, your project manager virtual assistant needs to have access to you, which means being able to have time, whether that's daily or 3 times a week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, to give you updates on where the project is at, what it is that they need without having to involve the whole team on that call. They're basically just tapping you one-on-one of like, hey, these are things that I need. Can you provide them? What do I need to do to get them? And of course, just provide them with project management training. There's a lot of courses out there where you can give them just free certification on project management. If they have a local one, you can sign them up for that. If your virtual assistant has them locally in their city, you could go to sites like Coursera or Udemy. There's a lot of people who have project management courses. You can provide them with books, resources, or you can even give them the framework that you're hoping that they can adapt, so then you can speak the same language as they are managing your projects. And of course, lastly, when it comes to training a project manager virtual assistant, is to give them feedback. You have to make sure that they know when they're on track and they know when they're off track. So making sure that you have, again, that regular check-ins, making sure that you have that weekly system will help you when it comes to giving them effective feedback as well. Now, if you guys like this video, make sure to hit the thumbs up button right there and comment below. Have you ever had a virtual assistant project manager? Let me know. And if you still haven't yet, make sure to hit the subscribe button right there so don't miss any videos every Sunday and Thursday on how to work from home and how to have business from home, which you guys can check out those 2 playlists right here and the latest video right here. I hope you guys have an awesome day. Remember that small steps matters, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.